Today, I'm going to be giving you my 4 hottest takes about NBA history, and each take is going to get progressively hotter and more controversial. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see just how much you disagree with my takes. I also want to get this comment section bumping, so leave a comment with your hottest take about NBA history, and who knows, maybe I'll give something away to whoever brings the most heat. Let's get into it. All right, so hot take number 1. I think Kobe Bryant's finals record is worse than LeBron. So look, LeBron is 4-6 in the finals, Kobe's 5-2. And you might be sitting here asking yourself,
Andrew, what the hell are you talking about?
They're numbers. You can't really argue with that. But my take here is that Kobe has performed a lot worse in the finals than LeBron has. And when you also factor in the context to each guy, yeah, I think Kobe has a worse finals record or resume than LeBron. Let's start with their stats, okay? Because Kobe has always sort of had a drop off in the finals compared to the regular season. Kobe career, he's averaged 25 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.7 assists on 55% true shooting. That's the important number. Because once he makes the finals, the counting stats are about the same, 25. His rebounds go up a little bit, assists go up a little bit. He's playing a couple more minutes, makes sense. But his true shooting drops by nearly 5%. It drops down to 50.7, which is not a good number. LeBron's true shooting only drops by 2.5%, which makes sense because they're playing tougher defenses, more adjustments, etc. But LeBron's true shooting drops by a lot less than Kobe's, and LeBron's finals true shooting percentage is still higher than even Kobe's in the regular season. Pure efficiency-wise, LeBron's always shot the ball better and scored the ball better in the finals, despite Kobe supposed to be being the scorer. Here's the other big part of this. Strength of schedule. The teams Kobe faced in the finals, the Reggie Miller Pacers once in 2000. Then he faced the Allen Iverson 76ers, another notoriously weak team coming out of the East. He faced the Jason Kidd Nets twice. I mean, what are we talking about? The Dwight Howard Magic, and then the big 3 Boston Celtics with KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rondo, etc. twice. That's a good team. I don't want to take anything away from that Celtics team. The other 5, though, respect to AI and respect to Reggie and Jalen Rose and respect to J. Kidd, those aren't exactly juggernauts like the Warriors dynasty and the Spurs dynasty that LeBron had to face in the finals. I mean, dude, even the 2011 Mavs that people consider this massive underdog story, I'm taking that team over the AI Sixers. I'm taking that team over Dwight and the Magic. I'm taking that team over even those Jason Kidd teams. So on a pure strength of schedule in the finals basis, Kobe kind of had a cakewalk, if we're being honest. Again, you can talk about how much more loaded the West was than the East, and the real finals were maybe some of those Spurs-Lakers matchups for Kobe, but I'm purely looking at the NBA Finals resume for this take. The strength of schedule argument is not even close. LeBron has one indefensible NBA Finals, and it's the 2011 series, like I said, against Dirk and the Mavs. I can't argue against that. LeBron was really bad, especially in Game 4 and then the fourth quarters of Games 2 and 5. Kobe, though, has 0-4. And I feel like no one really talks about this, because if you're going to go ahead and say that Mavs win was an upset, I mean, the Pistons beating the Shaq and Kobe Lakers in 2004 coming off a three-peat is the biggest upset in NBA Finals history. I mean, if you just go off the betting odds, it's not even close. And Kobe got completely shut down in that series. He finished averaging 23 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists on 38% field goals and 17% from 3. That is probably the worst finals by any player considered to be top 10 in NBA history against a team that was not some, again, overwhelming favorite like LeBron has often had to face in his career. Now, I think that Pistons team was severely underrated by the public, and clearly in hindsight, they were some dogs, especially defensively. And I'm not even including 2000 in all of this, by the way, when Kobe was pretty horrific offensively, but that was young Kobe. He had the ankle injury, cut him some slack there. 5-2 is 5-2. And if that's going to be what you have to say, fine. To me, pretty disappointing finals resume for Kobe Bryant. I'm taking LeBron James dominating some of these series all day, even if the final win-loss record favors the Mamba. Now, before we get to hot take number 2, which involves one of the NBA's biggest stars of the 1970s, I gotta tell you guys about the sponsor of today's video, ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. Because, look man, I like to have a good time every once in a while, you know what I mean? Whether it's on the golf course, on a Friday night, or just watching the game. But these days, anytime I know I'm gonna get active, I take ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. And it's this byproduct, not like dehydration or anything, that's to blame for your rough next day. And pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's almost like, why wouldn't you take this? You know what I'm saying? So if you're trying to stick to a healthy lifestyle, make sure you click the link in my description to get 15% off your first order and free shipping. Now let's get back to the video. Hot take number 2. I think if we include the ABA, Dr. J is a top 5 player in NBA history. Let me give you a blind resume of 3 players. You tell me who you think had the best career. Okay, so player A was a 3-time MVP, a 3-time champ. He won 2 finals MVPs, made 12 All-Star teams, and averaged 24, 10, and 6 for his career. Player B, 3-time MVP as well, 5-time champ, 3-time finals MVP, also 12-time All-Star, averaged 27 and 11, give or take, for his career. Player C was a 4-time MVP, a 3-time champ, a 2-time finals MVP, a 16-time All-Star, and had career averages of 24, 9, and 4. Objectively speaking, which of those 3 players was the best? And if anything, you could argue they're all sort of like pretty similar, kind of in the same category, right? Well, player A is Larry Bird, player B is Magic Johnson, 2 guys who are universally considered top 6 or 7 all time. I have them both in my top 5. And yeah, you guessed it, player C is Dr. J. Julius Erving. Makes you think, right? And yeah, the obvious caveat here is that a lot of those accolades for Dr. J came when he was playing in the ABA. And as history has progressed, we've sort of learned to disregard the ABA. But my question is kind of why? Because even if you don't want to say the ABA is the equivalent of the NBA back in the late 60s, early 70s, there's a lot of talent in that league, man. I mean, George Gervin, Moses Malone, like I could keep going about the ABA. So it should be at least 75% of the NBA at its peak. And for this take, I think if we look at them as equivalents, then yeah, absolutely Dr. J has like a top 5 basketball resume ever. And again, it's not like the ABA was the LeVar Ball League, the JBL with, LaMelo dropping 50 as a 16-year-old. The ABA was legit, you know what I'm saying? Let me remind you who Dr. J was. In the ABA, he won 3 straight MVPs in the 70s, averaging 28, 11, and 5 with 4.5 stocks per game on great efficiency. This dude was an animal. He then comes over to the NBA and has a Hall of Fame NBA career as well in the second half, post-prime of his career. He was an all-star every single year with the Sixers. He made 4 finals. He won 1. He won an MVP, finished top 5 for a bunch of years. And I think in historical all-time conversations, what also holds Dr. J back a little bit from these types of talks is his finals record. He went 3-3 in the finals, 1-3 in the NBA. But don't get it twisted, because this dude is one of the ultimate playoff risers in NBA history. Back in the 76 finals, his last year in the ABA, he averaged 38, 14, and 5 with 5 combined steals and blocks on 59% field goal percentage. Ludicrous performance. He then makes the finals his first year back in the NBA with the Sixers. He averages 37 and 5 with 4 stocks against Bill Walton and the Blazers in 77. In the Game 6 elimination game, he drops 40. I mean, what else do you want from the guy in a loss? No matter which way you slice it, Dr. J would always show up. And so combine all of that with how dominant of a player he was earlier in his career. Like, I have no doubt he would have won MVPs if he was playing in the NBA. during his peak prime. I mean, what else are you looking for a top 5 type of player in NBA history? And last point, I think when we're talking about the all-time greats in the sport, you also have to look at their off-the-court impact. Again, Jordan, LeBron, Bird and Magic reviving the NBA in the 70s and 80s. So, Steph and the three-point revolution. Dr. J had that too, man. I mean, if you're talking about who was the coolest hooper in the early and mid 70s, it was Dr. J with the afro and the high-flying dunks and the street ball legend, balling at Rucker Park in, Upper Manhattan. Dr. J had as much impact in terms of bringing a swagger to professional basketball as anybody, man. Ask anybody who lived in Philadelphia in the 70s. Like, Dr. J was that dude. All in all, if we include the ABA, yeah, man, Dr. J is right up there with Bird and Magic for me. All right, hot take number 3. I have Draymond Green ranked higher all time than Russell Westbrook. So right now I have Russ ranked 92nd in my all-time NBA rankings. He's top 100, future Hall of Famer. I have Draymond Green ranked 79th. And let me start here, because if not for 2012, when, James Harden, KD, and Russ made the finals, got gentlemen swept by the Heat, and again, Durant was the best player on that team, not Russ. Russ would be in a group with Derrick Rose, Joel Embiid, and Steve Nash as the MVPs to have never made a finals. 2 guys who got screwed by injuries, and the one guy who people consider to be the biggest scam of an MVP ever. Already not great for a guy who, and I've talked about this before, I don't believe Russ deserved his MVP. But even ignoring that, let's talk about him versus Draymond, because let me ask you this. What is Russ's signature playoff moment of his career? Name me one, you know what I'm saying? Versus Draymond's obviously got a million. And the counter argument with Draymond is, yeah, he played with Steph and, Durant even, once Durant left Russ from the Thunder. But winning has to matter. And Draymond's performance in Game 7 of the 2016 finals, even in a loss, that's a better single game performance than any Russ performance. Even when he dropped 50 in a loss in the first round of the playoffs in the mid-2010s. Already, if we're going to look back on history and where these two guys, one guy was an MVP that always failed in the playoffs. The other guy's one of the, winningest players of all time. How about this? Russell Westbrook career in Game 7s, 17 points per game, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Draymond career in Game 7s, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, it's almost identical. Russ in elimination games, 39% from the field, 32% from 3. After Kevin Durant left, Russ went 4-12 in the playoffs. He didn't win a single series as his own team's best player. I mean, this is levels of playoff catastrophe reserved for Tracy McGrady. You know what I'm saying? And even if you look at the teams Russ lost to, he lost to a rookie, Donovan Mitchell in the Jazz. He lost to Dame CJ McCollum and a Trailblazers team that was never that great. And he lost to James Harden's Rockets. No, we're not talking about a guy here who made a couple second rounds and, hey, maybe made a conference final. No, we're talking about someone who did absolutely nothing as his team's best player. So if you're going to try to make the argument,
well, Russ was just so much better as an individual than Draymond,
my rebuttal would be why does it matter? Who cares? Because Russ, as his own team's best player, clearly wasn't enough of a best player to actually do anything that mattered. And then look at even the 2 guys as players. Well, defensively, it's not close. Draymond's one of the greatest defenders in NBA history. Playmaking, I don't really think it's close. Russ put up good assist numbers. Draymond has the basketball IQ, especially offensively, to make those Warriors teams one of the greatest offensive teams ever. Even as another player, who would you rather play with? The guy who's going to do all the dirty work, crash the glass, play defense, find you for open shots? Or the point guard who's going to take 30 shots a game just to get his own numbers and then probably lose in the fourth quarter? To me, I would rather have Draymond on my team. I think he's got the better resume and he hasn't fallen apart in the playoffs. I'm going Draymond all time. All right, on hot take number 4, potentially my hottest take about NBA history, I think Jerry West would have not only been better than Steph Curry in today's NBA, but he would have been more popular too. Look, the only right way to really think about this conceptually is it's sort of like 2K style, where you're taking Jerry West and putting him in like the Captain America lab machine, fast forwarding his body to today's NBA, putting him in 2025, and again, sort of assuming he's the same Jerry West comparatively to his peers back then as he is now. And with that assumption, let's talk about who both these guys were coming into the league, because both guys were college stars and both guys had big March Madness runs. Of course, Steph with the Davidson Wildcats, but Jerry West took the West Virginia Mountaineers even further. He took them all the way to the championship game and won Most Outstanding Player of the Final Four, even in a loss. So, as terms of like hype and popularity coming into the NBA, advantage Jerry West. According to scouts too, back then Jerry West could jump like 2 feet above the rim. I obviously wasn't alive in the 60s, I can't confirm or deny, but if that's true and Jerry West was, a guy who had underrated hops, and in today's NBA where it was a little more acceptable, could be like dunking on guys, I mean, that's something Steph never really had in his bag. Absolute advantage in terms of excitement with Jerry West, because obviously we got to talk about the shooting, where Steph's the greatest shooter ever. I'm not going to try to argue that Jerry West was a better shooter, but is he in the same category? Absolutely. Let me read you some stats. So the league average field goal percentage from 1960 to 1974 was about 43%. Jerry West as a guard shot 47.5%. And comparatively with Steph, who shot, I think, 5.2% better than league average his MVP year, 4.4, 5.2. In 1968, this is nuts. Jerry West shot 51.4% from the field. The league average for guards that year was 43.5. I mean, Jerry West was fourth in the entire NBA in field goal percentage. And again, keep in mind, there was no three-point line that year, but if you go back and watch footage, Jerry West was absolutely shooting jumpers as if there were. He was 8% better than league average that season, which is the same difference as Nikola Jokic versus Bradley Beal last season in 2024. I mean, absolutely insane. So sure, while Jerry West wasn't doing dribble combos into like a crazy step back 30-footer, you could even argue there was less spacing for him to do anything back then, so it's even more impressive. And if you look at the jump shot form, if you look at the way Jerry West played, there's no reason to assume Jerry West wouldn't have been an insane three-point shooter in today's league and wouldn't have figured out a way to do all these Steph Curry dribble moves. Again, I'm not saying he would have been quite Steph, but could he have been a Klay Thompson level shooter, a Ray Allen level shooter? Like, absolutely. And again, in terms of an overall score, Jerry West is 100% on the same level as Steph. I mean, Jerry West had 4 different seasons, averaging 31 plus points per game. He was 26 points per game for 11 straight years in the NBA. Jerry West's half-court shot in Game 3 of the 1970 NBA Finals to send the game to overtime, that's absolutely Steph-esque and one of the clutchest shots of all time. Jerry West also led the league in assists once, was at 6.7 average for his career. Like, we're talking about a guy who was a 30-plus point per game scorer, one of the best playmakers in the league, could shoot, and supposedly had crazy bunnies. This dude sounds like a fan's dream. I mean, man, we can just keep going. Jerry West has the higher career scoring record in the regular season than Steph. He's got a higher career high in the playoffs than Steph. He's got a higher NBA Finals than Steph, 53-10 in Game 1 of the 1969 Finals. Insane performance by Jerry West. The one season the NBA tracks steals when West was still playing, which was West's final year in 1974, he averaged 2.6 a game. Like, he was probably in the 3s or maybe even the 4s in the prime of his career. So this dude was picking guys' pockets too. I just think, like, in all ways, Jerry West was an exciting guard that people would have absolutely latched onto in the three-point era. His game would have benefited even more with a three-point line. He's got, he had the hype coming out of college. He had the playoff success. He had the game winners. The guy's the logo for a reason, man. I see no reason why Jerry West wouldn't have absolutely thrived in 2025 and had just as much popularity as Steph. All right, so there you have it, man. Appreciate you all watching to the end of the video. And again, I want to hear your guys' hot take. So drop something in the comments and try to back it up a little bit too. Don't just throw something out there and rage bait for likes. Let's have some debates, man. And if I think you brought the heat with your hot take, yeah, maybe I'll pick a couple of you guys and throw something your way. So again, appreciate you all watching the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think. And until next time, peace out.